that one day on the red hills of Georgia, sons of former slaves.
My name is Jennifer Njuguna, and I'm the CEO of Zahra Karim Limited. But the story did not start there. 19 years ago, I was in search of a better life. I had a big dream, and so I left for Dubai, lived and worked there for 18 years. I worked hard, going from one job to another. Some were jobs that I had never pictured myself doing. The harder I worked, the more I came face to face with one hard truth, that enduring wealth was not in my current radar. I needed something different. I had to make a tough decision to come back to Kenya. Today, I run my own business and I even have my own factory. Want to know how I got here? Follow me and hear my story. Your story can be next. You can be the next big thing.
I believe it's going to be a game changer. Hello, Karen. How are you? Good to see you. Very, very welcome on board. All right. Who else do we have here? Hello, Anne. Hi, Barbara. Hi, Vicky. Brian, you're welcome. Hello, Christine. You made it. I'm happy. Hi, Dorcas. Eunice, you're very welcome. Eva, George, oh wow, it's a full house and it's getting fuller. Joseph, welcome. Joyce and Jerry, you're welcome. Michael, welcome. Mombi, welcome. Oscar, great to have you here. Paul, the great Paul Mukoma, you're very welcome. Reho, you're welcome. Renee. All right, Robert, I'm running out of breath trying to catch up with all the names. Rose. Oh, wow, my pastor is here, Pastor Tony. Victor, you're all very, very, very welcome. I'm excited. We're all here today, and we're going to have a great time. I promise you, we are going to have a really, really great time today, and I want you to be ready. I hope you have something to write. All right, and I hope you are ready for this, okay? Wow, great to see you all here today. Excited and ready. I am super ready and super excited. All right, now we are talking about something, and why are we talking about this particular topic? I will tell you, I have, in my professional life, I've met with so many people who literally are stuck. They know there's something. They know there's something, all right? There's something more. But it's like, what is that something more? How do I connect with it? Sometimes they even know what it is, but the problem is, how do I make the connection? See, many of us get to a stage in our life where I would say we know there is more. We know. We can see something better. We can see something greater. We knew we were made for more. But somehow we are stuck where we were. And, in that place of being stuck, suddenly you realize, oh my goodness, 5 years have gone. Look, maybe I just want to make sure I'm talking to the right crowd. How many of you here have made plans at a time in your life and you got so excited about the plans, but you did nothing about it? And then you see that somebody else has done the same thing and they're thriving and everybody is celebrating them. And then you now encourage yourself that, I got that idea first. Has anybody been there before? Where you got somebody and you're literally looking at somebody and you're thinking, that's my idea. That is my idea. But the sad truth is that nobody cares who got the idea. What life rewards is who executed it and who executed it well. Or let me give you another one. You've had a great idea, you put it off and promised yourself, I'm going to do something about it later. And then you think about it every day. You think about it. You're excited about this, my vision. This is my great vision. And then suddenly you realize, listen, you are celebrating the 10th year anniversary of the idea. Are you hearing what I'm saying? You are celebrating the anniversary of the idea, not the product, the idea. Too many people celebrate the anniversaries of ideas that they never birthed. Oh, wow, awesome. Christine, you're welcome. James, welcome, sir. Great to have you here on this platform. All right? Too many people are celebrating the anniversaries of ideas they never birthed. So I take it you are here. Paul, you can relate? Oh, man, I lived in that zone for so many years. I lived there. And so I'm happy there's at least one person who can relate with what I'm saying. I lived in that zone. So who is ready to move from idea to execution? All right? Odipo G. Yeah, we've been there. That's us, man. If we were to start an association, you know, of people like that, oh my goodness, I just might be the chairman because I've had so many of those. All right. Now, but the question is, how do we move from idea to execution? So we're no more celebrating the anniversary of the idea. And the first step is to get your mind unstuck. To get your mind. I've written 22 books on this topic from various angles. But the more I study it, the more I discover how much I don't know. The first thing is to get your mind unstuck, because a mind that is stuck in the past can never enter into the future, no matter how glorious that future is looking. If your mind is stuck into the past, it cannot enter into the future. There is even a biblical example of that. God told Moses, speak to the rock, water will come out. Years later, you know, the dynamics had changed. God told Moses, okay, you know what you're going to do this time? Hit the rock. First time, God told him, hit the rock, water will come out. Second time, God said, now you speak to the rock. Brother could not make that change in his mind. Last time we did it, we hit the rock. That's what we did last time. So you know what? Hit the rock, and that cost him the promised land. And a lot of people are being cost their promised land because they are hitting the rock when they should be speaking to the rock. Because you hit it last time does not mean you need to hit it this time. The dynamics have changed. And let me tell you something. Comfort is one of the biggest threats, because comfort will never let you go freely. You are going to have to fight for your independence. Is somebody hearing me? You're going to have to fight for your independence, because comfort isn't going to let you go freely. And so the question you need to look at right now, what area of life are you most comfortable at the moment? All right? What area are you most comfortable? The greatest threats will come in the area of the greatest comfort. Comfort is such an enemy of progress. You sometimes have to induce discomfort if you want to get unstuck. You will have to induce some discomfort. I remember a young lady who used to work with me. She's now running her own company. She's the CEO. Her name is Gladys. And she taught me something that was so powerful. One day she came to the office and she said, you know what, I'm not as creative as I used to be. And I said, what's the problem? You know, So eventually she said, you know, I think I'm too comfortable. So remember, she's working for me. She says, I think I'm too comfortable. I'm thinking, oh my goodness, maybe we should swap places. You know, I'm too comfortable. Then the next day I saw Gladys. She said, yep, I'm ready now. I said, so what did you do? She bought herself a big car, bought her mother a plot of land or something. So she said, I am broke. So now I'm ready. And my goodness, that girl is one of the most creative minds that ever worked with me. A creative genius. Is somebody hearing me today? Sometimes you might have to induce a level of discomfort. But I'm going to get into this in some depth, okay? All right? Comfort that you don't challenge will become your limit. Comfort that you don't challenge becomes your limit, and this is where many people get stuck. If you don't challenge your comfort, you know what's going to happen? All your decisions will be decisions that promote your comfort and never anything to challenge it. I'll tell you another thing about comfort. It's a very subtle but wicked leader. Comfort is a very subtle but wicked leader, because you know what it will do? It will keep directing you and to ensure you stay within its confines. I wrote a book on this. It's called Mental Independence. You have to fight for that independence. And what I've just talked about now is basically the introduction to that. It's a very wicked leader. Now, let me tell you something. About 95% of aspiring entrepreneurs forget their dream once they get to the point where their comfort is being challenged. Listen, at the onset, you have a vision, you are excited. Yeah, we're going to do this, we're going to do this. People are supporting, we're going to do this. But the truth is this, there is no straight line to success. It goes like this. And I've seen too many people, I'm telling you, too many people, they start, they're on fire, the vision is powerful, but that's because their comfort has not yet been challenged. I think, I don't know if it was here, I do too many of these sessions. When I talked about this book, Steve Jobs, his biography, and there were three founders, all right? There was Steve Jobs, there was Steve Wozniak, and there was a guy called Ronald Wayne. And everything was okay until comfort was challenged. So they were going to get some loans, and if they did not pay back those loans, it was going to affect them. Their property, and stuff like that. And you know what? Ronald Wayne had a previous failure. And so you know what he did? He said, I'm out of here. I'm not doing this. And he sold, listen, his 10% stake of Apple, 10% stake for $2,300. Today, Apple is worth 2.7 trillion or so. Is somebody hearing me today? He sold his 10% for $2,300. Why? Because everything was okay until his comfort was challenged. You don't know if you are really cut out for your dream until your comfort is challenged. Oh boy. Is somebody hearing me today? I have seen, look, that's why I'm not moved when people start, Apple market cap, $3.5 trillion. 3.5 as of July 2024. $3.5 trillion. That is trillion with a T. Is somebody hearing me? Once your comfort, I'm not moved by initial excitement, you're starting business. Yeah. Just wait. Or it could be ministry, whatever it is, just wait. When your comfort gets challenged to a point, that's when we'll know. Don't celebrate too quickly. Are you hearing me today? And 95%, they forget their dream once comfort has been challenged. A great percentage of people don't know what to do when the comfort they have been used to is challenged. I always talk about marketing director of a telecommunications company, that this girl was so powerful, her PA had a PA. You know what I mean? She was so powerful. Everybody wanted a piece of her because she controlled a massive marketing budget. Everybody wanted things sponsored and events and all that. You know what? When her comfort was challenged and that job was no more there, she went into a depression. She didn't know what to do because, you know what? Her phone stopped ringing. And she realized that, oh my God, a lot of people are relating with me, not because of me, but because of what I stand for. Hey, her comfort was challenged. Those cabinet secretaries in Kenya that were fired yesterday, oh, their comfort is being challenged right now. Some of them, they don't know what to do. A gentleman called Marshall Goldsmith wrote a book, What Got You Here Won't Get You There. What got you here won't get you here. Yes, Christine, having your comfort challenged is very important. And you know what? You don't have to go look for it. It will come. You don't have to look for it. It is part of the process. All right? So, very, very important. Now, listen. And you see, life is in phases. Each phase requires a different way of thinking. And each new phase is likely you get to a point where it begins to challenge the old. All right. And that's why I started last week with the creative thinking course. We did, because at the Street University, I'll share some of our courses with you. We have the course on creative thinking. And we did module 1 last Saturday. There are 4 more modules. All right. And if we'll give you the details, you want to subscribe to those ones. I think it's I recommend that. All right. So if you've not yet watched module 1, please watch it either on our Facebook page, The Street University, on YouTube, The Street TV. You see, a creative mind is so crucial to getting, it's a deterrent against getting stuck. Let me tell you what I tell my clients all the time. A very simple way of keeping your business relevant. You know what? Just step out of your comfort, take the position of the competition, and then develop a strategy to take your company out. Let me give you an example. So assuming your company is called John Bull Limited, okay? John Bull, that's the name of your company. So you step out of John Bull, and maybe your competition is Jack Doe. So you take the position of Jack Doe, develop a strategy to take John Bull down. You know what that will do to you? You will see all the loopholes. You will see what you need to do to move to the next level. Many people are not able to get a hold of the new. Listen, because they have become so good. They have become excellent at managing the old. So they're never able to move into the new. So listen, rigidity is the cause of the downfall of many organizations and stagnation of many individuals. Rigidity. I tell a lot of my clients that you built a flawless system, but you have more faith in the system than in the solution which the system provides, or the environment in which the system exists. You know, systems don't exist in isolation. They exist to solve problems. But you know what? Excellence without flexibility is a form of slow suicide. Excellence without flexibility. I'm going to show you a couple of books that have shaped my thinking in some of these things. This is Bill Gates, Business at the Speed of Thought. It's a phenomenal book. And listen to what Bill Gates said. This was years ago. He wrote this book. I bought this book, I'll tell you when. This was in the year 2000 that he wrote this book. This is actually copyright 1999 when he wrote this book. His first book was The Road Ahead. And then he wrote this. And I have painted every page of this book because some of the things he said there. Now, listen, at the time he wrote this, remember, he was the richest man in the world. And listen, he said, in 3 years, every product my company makes will be obsolete. The only question is whether we will make them obsolete or somebody else will. One day, somebody will catch us napping. An eager upstart will put Microsoft out of business. I hope it's 50 years from now, not 2 or 5 years. If somebody on that level, so let me break this down. He said in 3 years, so they create a new product. And in 3 years, even if people are still buying it in their head, they moved on. That's the key to relevance. In their heads, they've moved on. Gillette was started, you know, the shaving company, they started 1907, I think it is. They have even taken it to a new level. Gillette, I saw an ad, they came up with a product, and they said, all right, guys, we told you this product was fantastic, and yes, it is fantastic, but hey, we've come up with something else, it's better than that. Can you imagine? These are companies, and this explains why these guys just keep staying there. Because they have not allowed their thinking to get stuck. In this book, it's called Bezonomics, and it's the philosophy of Jeff Bezos. And listen to what he says here. It's amazing. He said, listen, this is, again, like Bill Gates, multi-billionaire, trillion-dollar company. Amazon is not too big to fail. One day, Amazon will fail. Amazon will go bankrupt. If you look at large companies, their lifespans tend to be 30 plus years, not 100 plus years. At the time he said this, Amazon was 24. What does that kind of thinking do? Next thing, Amazon Prime. Next thing, you get into retail. Next thing, you get into all sorts of things. Is somebody hearing me? Because of that thinking, you can't get stuck with that kind of thinking. You know, a fantastic author wrote A Great Business Mind and Leadership Mind, Jim Collins. He wrote a book, Good to Great. And then he wrote a sequel to that, which I will show you. It's called Great by Choice. And I'm showing you these books, so if you can get your hands on them, you know, they will really help your thinking. You know, great by choice. But you know what? Many discovered it was easier to go from 0 to good than it was to go from good to great. Did you get that? And you know why? Because going from zero to good, there's not yet been anything comfortable. There's not been any, so everybody is hungry. They're putting everything into it. But once you get good, many times people stop playing offense, they start playing defense. Oh, let me tell you one that is going to, you need to fasten your seatbelts for this one. Are you ready? Now, this was written, I'll tell you when this was written. This is Tom Peters, okay? This was written in 2003. Okay, so this is at the heat of the, .com bubble in early days. So Tom Peters wrote this book, In Search of Excellence, all right? And lessons from America's best run companies. Okay. So you know what began to happen? Everybody began to benchmark those companies. Everyone wanted to be like those companies. A decade later, many of them had lost their positions. Many of them were struggling, and some of them were totally dead. Why did this happen? So I began to search. Why did that happen? Then I heard Steve Jobs talk about a book that helped him in his thinking and innovation. So I went to get the book, and that book answered that question for me. Are you ready? You got to fasten your seatbelts for this because it's the most paradoxical answer you have ever read or seen in your life. I assure you. I assure you, this rocks everything we have believed about leadership and management. When I'm training leadership in organizations and CEOs and all that, and I ask, why do you think those companies failed? And if I were to ask you, why do you think they failed? Anybody? Just write your thoughts. Why do you think those companies failed? You can write your thoughts in the chat. Why do you think those companies failed? Companies that 1 minute, everybody, all right, Isabella says they did not innovate. They did not innovate. All right? These are companies everybody was benchmarking, that these are the companies to follow. And next thing, and I hear people saying things like, they trusted James, thank you, they trusted the systems too much. They became complacent. All right? Oscar says they copied rather than learn. All right? They settled in their comfort zones. They stuck on the good, yes. They became too comfortable, and you're all correct in a way. But let me put it, so this book, Lack of Foresight, in this book, The Innovator's Dilemma, so they now analyzed the companies in this book. It's fantastic, reading them together. So you read this, everybody is benchmarking these companies and all that. Then you read this, and he explains why these guys did not stay on top. Now listen, I wish there was a way I could show you the print so you realize, so you see, I'm not cooking this up. I'm not cooking this up, all right? It says the research reported in this book supports this view. It shows that, listen, in the cases, listen, of well-managed firms, such as those cited above, in the cases of well-managed firms, good management was the most powerful reason they failed to stay atop their industries. Did you believe that? He said good management was what led to their downfall. Listen, don't stone me yet. It says precisely because these firms listened to their customers, invested aggressively in new technologies that will provide their customers more and better products of the sort they wanted, and because they carefully studied market trends and systematically allocated investment capital to innovation, they lost their positions of leadership. Wow. Wow. Is somebody hearing me? They were so excellent in managing the present that my chapter 2 in mental independence, what chapter? I call it right angle capacity. That is when you are going fast, do you have the capacity to turn very quickly? And I talked about that using Formula One. You know, they're able, listen, because they've got a very low center of gravity and all that. All right. But these companies had established such a solid, they were so good at managing the present. They were so excellent, they could not respond to changes. Now, you know what? That is the same thing that led to a lot of COVID casualties. And you know what? This is why America was badly hit. And when you look at South Korea, on a per capita basis, they suffered just a fraction of what happened in America. Oh, is somebody hearing me? Of course, South Korea had the SARS and stuff before. So they were prepared, they're better prepared. If you don't know how to reinvent yourself and you are stuck on your old model, you will become a casualty. Let me give you a mind-blowing statistic. Are you ready for this? Let's look at two armies, okay? So Army 1 has years of experience. They are well-structured. They've had, they have a large, well-trained force. They have the best equipped force in the world, the best communication gadgets in the world. They have a well-defined command structure. That's Army 1. Army 2 has no institutional experience, no fixed location, no uniforms, no formal address. They recruited locals or anyone who wanted to fight, including people with zero experience. They improvised weapons that were largely assembled in basements. They didn't have face-to-face meetings. Yeah, letters were sent by couriers. They had a loose command structure. Now listen, of these two armies, which do you think will be better placed to win in the event of a confrontation? It does not take rocket science to guess that based on what they look like on paper, the second army will be no competition for the first army. However, General Stanley McChrystal wrote the book Team of Teams. General McChrystal was the commanding officer of the task force against Al-Qaeda in Iraq, the US task force against Al-Qaeda in Iraq. All right? So he was commanding this great team, best communication, best equipment. All right? Guess what? In this book, Team of Teams, excellent book, he gives a very concise account of how, in spite of the task force, they were defeated in Iraq. This is the general that was commanding. He says, we were whooped. He says in 2004, there were more terror attacks in Iraq alone than in the whole world. In 2005, terrorism in Iraq claimed 8,300 lives. That's 3 times 9/11. In 2006, listen, 1,000 Iraqis were dying on the streets every single month. Yet, the world's best trained, best equipped, and most sophisticated team was there to curtail Al-Qaeda. They failed. When General McChrystal, like I said, the commanding officer, he did an analysis of their failure. He says, listen, We had developed competencies for a world that no longer existed. We were unprepared for the new threats, the new environment, and the new dynamics. He said defeating Al-Qaeda would entail us having to learn from them. We had to unlearn old ways and abandon many of the precepts that helped us to get to where we are. On an individual level, the same thing applies. We had to embrace a new kind of organization from command-based to team-based, and the thinking space had to be liberalized. I said something in an interview I did recently that when I was growing up, great leadership was knowledge-based. You had the knowledge, so you were the leader. Today, great leadership, you don't need to be the most knowledgeable. You just need to be able to harness knowledge from around you and harness that knowledge and channel it towards a goal. That's the great leader of today. America lost in Iraq because they were stuck in the way they had done things. This is exactly what happened to Kenya. I told one of the former cabinet secretaries 2 weeks ago when this whole thing was starting, I said, you guys, you're going to get yourselves in trouble. And I gave him the example of this book. I gave him this case study. I spoke with, quite a number of them. I spoke with them. I said, listen, the police is dealing, they're like the Al-Qaeda task force. The police was trained for stone-throwing people who did not know their rights and who had no power besides stones. The police was not trained for people who will look them in the face, who will give them water, give them flowers, take pictures with them. Police was not used to that. All right? Now, leave America, leave Kenya, look at yourself. This is what is happening to many people today. You are so good with your past, and you can't get past your past. Am I talking to somebody tonight? So how are we going to move forward? First thing, you need to free your mind from the experience of the past. Free your mind from the experience of the past. Oh, now this is going to be difficult for a lot of people. Free your mind from the experience of the past. It's difficult for a lot of people. But let me tell you something that I've learned over the years. Wars are fought by soldiers, but they are won by thinkers. I'll say that again. Wars are fought by soldiers, but won by thinkers. What defeats great armies like we saw in Iraq? You know what? If you do the deep analysis like I've done, you know what led to their downfall? Their attachment to their experience. That was it. It was their attachment to their experience. It was Moses hitting the rock. There was a presidential candidate two elections ago. And he had called me to come and do, lead a think tank for him. I did it for a short while and I realized I don't fit in here. Because every time I said, this is what we're going to do, they will come back and say, oh, but this is not how we did it last time. And I said, that's why you didn't win. That's why you didn't win. This is not how we did it last time. Let me show you something. This is called 33 Strategies of War by Robert Greene. 33 Strategies of War. So we've already seen in Team of Teams, they were victims of their experience, victims of their own past, okay? 33 Strategies of War. Let me read something interesting to you. All right. Now, it says, the greatest, in preparing yourself for war, You must rid yourself of myths and misconceptions. Strategy is not a question of learning a series of moves or ideas to follow like a recipe. Victory has no magic formula. Ideas are merely nutrients for the soil. They lie in your brain as possibilities so that in the heat of the moment, they can inspire a direction, an appropriate and creative response. Did you hear that? The greatest generals, and this is where I'm going, the greatest generals, the most creative strategists stand out not because they have more knowledge, but because they are able, when necessary, to drop their preconceived notions and focus intensely on the present moment. This is how creativity is sparked and opportunities are seized. Listen, knowledge, experience, and theory have limitations. No amount of thinking in advance can prepare you for the chaos of life and the infinite possibilities of the moment. Listen, the last war you fought, and this chapter is actually called, let me tell you what this chapter is called. Do not fight the last war. It says, the last war you fought is a danger, even if you won. It is fresh in your mind. If you are victorious, you will tend to repeat the strategies you just used for success. And says, success makes us lazy and complacent. If you lost, you may be skittish and indecisive. Do not think about the last war. You do not have the distance or the detachment. Instead, do whatever you can do to blot it from your mind. When we were children, our minds never stopped. We were open to new experiences, absorbed as much of them as possible. We learned fast because the world around us excited us. When we felt frustrated or upset, we'd find some creative way to get what we wanted, and then quickly forget the problem as something new crossed our paths. All the greatest strategists, Alexander the Great, Napoleon, and all these guys were childlike in this respect. They acted like children. Now, some of us understand why Jesus said, you must come like a child. If you're going to see things happen, you have to come like a child. Now, listen to the last thing I want to read from this particular book. He said, some of our generals failed because they worked out everything by rule. They knew what Frederick did at one place and Napoleon at another. They were always thinking about what Napoleon would do. I don't underrate the value of military knowledge, but if men make war in slavish observance to rules, they will fail. War is progressive. You hear that? So if you're going to get unstuck, let's forget those things that are behind. Let's forget the victories you've had. Let's forget. Stop referring to when I was this, when I was that. Stop referring to that. Stop making that the reference point of your life. Because if the best days of your life in your mind are behind you, you cannot aspire for anything greater. Is somebody hearing me? Nobody has experience for the future. And I think I gave this example in the creative thinking model class. Listen, if you go to YouTube right now, you go to YouTube and you search for ChatGPT experts. Just hold on. I'm going to show you. ChatGPT expert. All right. Then I see a guy here. He's got 3 million views. I see another guy, 1.5. It says master the perfect ChatGPT prompt, 1.5 million views. All right. There is even one that says he will certify you. Okay, this one, how to use ChatGPT for beginners, 3 million views. One says the dark side of ChatGPT, 2.7 million views. Then become a certified ChatGPT expert. Now, you know why this is interesting? You know why this is interesting? ChatGPT, nobody knew about ChatGPT besides the people developing it before the release date of 30th November 2022. So that means before 30th of November 2022, nobody had experience with ChatGPT. That means, listen, you and the guy that has 3 million views and will be paid a ton of cash from YouTube, you and that guy were on the same level on the 30th of November 2022. He had no experience. Look, experience is critical only. Of course, there are some things, and I keep saying it, you want a doctor that has experience. You want a teacher that has experience. You want a driver that has experience. But let me tell you, in a lot of scenarios in life today, experience is only critical if you expect the future to be a replica of the past. Otherwise, you don't need experience. Stop limiting yourself that you don't have experience. Nobody has experience for the future. Come on. Nobody has experience for the future. But you are stuck because you say, I don't have experience. Are you hearing me today? So, free your mind from the experience of the past. Free your mind. Get out of that experience jail that says, I don't have experience. I don't have experience. I've shared some of these examples with you. There was a time when somebody called me. Someone called me and said, Wale, do you have a plane? Let me tell you, I've learned something. When people ask me those kind of questions, I'm not going to laugh and say, oh, do I look like that? Do you have a plane? I said, why? He said, no. Or do you know someone who's got a plane? There's somebody that wants a jet. They need to go, they need a private jet urgently. I didn't have a plane. But you know what? Nobody has experience in the future. So I remember I had a friend in Dubai who had a plane leasing company. So I called him. And I said, hey, it was during COVID. He said he doesn't have any plane available. Just after COVID, he doesn't have any plane available. That the only one was hired by some Indian billionaire who has been in Dubai for 2 weeks, and he wants the plane to just be there. Anyway, he sourced it, and we got a plane for this gentleman. He was so happy. Then later on, someone else called me and said, oh, Wale, I heard you're able to source a plane. We have a sick person in Dakar, Senegal, and we need to airlift him to Paris. Can you help? All right. What am I saying? And we got a plane for him. What am I saying to you today? Don't limit yourself because you say, I have no experience. Is somebody hearing me? So first way to move forward, free your mind from the experience of the past. Then when you free your mind, then you expose your mind. Expose your mind. Be flexible. The reason I'm showing you all these books is because I'm exposing my mind constantly. All right? Expose your mind. When Henry Ford was developing the car, He said, if I asked people what they wanted, they would have said faster horses. Ooh. And I can imagine if it was here in Africa, faster horses, then you set up a committee to study the faster horse, then, and you allocate billions to the faster horse project, you know, and God help us in Africa. Then on the day you invite, you invite the president to come and flag off the faster horse project, you know, they would have said faster horses. Yet, it was their time for cars. So I'm going to ask you a question. Are you ready? What is the age of your ideas? That's the question I want to ask you tonight. What is the age of your ideas? All right? Because if you are stuck in the experience of yesterday, your ideas will revolve only around the realities of yesterday. All right? What is the age of your ideas? Today now, here we are. We run an online school. We call it the Street University. We have facilitators from different parts of the world. If you asked me 10 years ago what my vision was, this would not feature. Because the things that have made it easy for me to run this program were not even around then. Are you hearing me today? I remember 2017, I was trying to convince some people that we could use, it was my brother in the UK that introduced me to Zoom when my dad died, and we're having meetings and we're using Zoom. And I thought, my goodness, this is phenomenal. I tried to introduce it to a few of my clients. They just wouldn't get it. But let me tell you, when COVID came, everybody had to get it. Point I'm making is, if you had asked me a couple of years ago about what the vision, what I saw going forward, I probably would not have said what I'm doing now. All right? I wouldn't have said that. You need to have, and I'm very careful with the way I'm going to say this. You need to have a very healthy dose of paranoia to drive you. For me, the fear of being irrelevant, the fear of not fulfilling what I was sent to the earth to, is one of the drivers. If you can, there is a series, a limited series on Netflix. It's called Sprint. Oh, please, if you can watch that, Sprint, you will thank me later. The way these athletes were driving themselves, they had something to prove. And let me tell you something. Are you ready? If you are trapped in a well and someone is sending a rope to pull you out of the well, you are not bothered whether it is a dirty rope, a yellow rope, a green rope. You don't care. All you want is to get out. Many people are too fussy and too picky to get unstuck. Odipo, you watch it, amazing. Many people are too fussy, too picky to get unstuck. And this selective mental disposition will make you miss out on some of the greatest opportunities of your life. We live in an era where medical doctors have become data analysts. Where my daughter, who studied business administration, is now heavy in the skincare and beauty. Where my first son and my daughter, they studied, what did they study? Computer science, ICT. And today, they are running a YouTube channel called Chennai to Lagos. That's their job. Listen, expose your mind. because only closed minds will complain that there are no opportunities, because we are living in the dispensation of opportunity. How many people have been given breakthrough ideas which they discarded because they saw nobody else doing it? Mental independence, that's why I wrote this book. It's the ability, listen, to create things for which there is no need, then turn them into necessities. For centuries, no one needed sugar. Sweetness was associated with honey and sugar cane. But around 350 AD, the process of sugar crystals from sugar cane, as we know it today, was introduced to the world by Indians, and it has remained a necessity since then. One of my favorite things I tell everybody, the Stone Age did not end because the world ran out of stones. The Stone Age ended because thinking had gone beyond stones. When you expose your mind, you will be able to think beyond the obvious. And only those who think beyond the obvious will achieve beyond the ordinary. And that's the way when you now get unstuck. In one of the modules of the creative thinking class, I'm going to share the Street University curriculum for July to December. And I'd encourage you, as many of you as can, to register for some of those courses. In one of the modules of creative thinking, we did module 1 last week, which you can watch. In one of the Amen. Amen. Thank you, sir. Yes, I agree with you. I agree with you. Your idea is born today. Listen, in one of the modules of creative thinking, one of the things I discovered in my research, the two most important words, listen, the two most important words in the creative thinking process, you know what they are? Why and how. Those are the two most important words in the creative thinking process. Why are they the two most important words? Why establishes motive. And motive is more powerful than logic. That's why the thief knows if I steal, I will get caught, I will go to jail. Logic. But motive. I want to do this, maybe I'm hungry or whatever. So motive overrides logic. And when you attend that course, I break it down. How you begin to ask why, you get your motive. How, establish methodology. Why, motive, methodology. And you keep breaking it down. You keep breaking it down. Of course, I'm just summarizing that. All right? Nothing you can see. Listen, I'm talking of this. All I'm saying now is the process of the product of an exposed mind. Nothing you can see is final. Did you hear what I said? Nothing you can see is final. Finality exists only in the minds of people who have not exposed their minds to the world of infinite possibilities. Let me give you an example. Sweden has one of the highest waste-to-energy programs in the world. All right? Highest waste-to-energy program in the world. In 2012, Sweden had a crisis, an energy crisis. You know what it was? They ran out of garbage. And they had to start importing garbage from neighboring countries. So for most people, garbage is final. But for the exposed mind, it is a raw material for a new innovation. Come on. No matter how stuck things are, tell yourself over and over that nothing is final. And I'm out of time. This is the first module of our disruptive thinking, disruptive leadership class at the Street University. The second module deals with the pillars of innovation. All right. Thought innovation, process innovation, product innovation, innovative partnerships. And then the third module deals with overcoming gravity. Let me talk about gravity briefly, and then we'll be out of here. This is why your thinking has to be different. Gravity. Listen, gravity says whatever goes up comes down. All right? Whatever goes up must come down. Now, when we were little, we were all dependent on people to lift us, to feed us, to clothe us, to do all that, isn't it? So we move from the era of dependence to the era of independence. Independence. We eat what we want. We wear what we want. We do what we want. But you know what? A lot of people in their old age, natural gravity sets in again. And they come right back to where they started from, dependency. All right? They come right back to where they started from. Today, Professor Wole Soyinka is turning 90 and he's moving all over the place. 90. All right? Yesterday, was it yesterday that Baba called? 2 days ago, President Obasanjo was in Nairobi, called me because he had come because of the drama we are having here. He had called. Baba is close to 90, walking, doing stuff all over the place. And I realized, friends, the force you put in your independence years will determine if you overcome gravity or you fall to gravity in your old age. That force you apply in your independent years, now is the time to fire on all turbines. This is the time to come out of that. And let me show you something before I wrap up. Let me show you something. I hope you can see this. All right, I want you to see this. Okay. Can you all see? Can you see my whiteboard? Can you see my whiteboard? All right. You see this triangle? This triangle, I call it, and in a lot of my circles, it's called Walle's triangle. Why do you call it Walle's triangle? Because I developed it. Pythagoras named his stuff after him. Pythagoras theorem. Maslow's law of hierarchy, theory of hierarchy. So this is Walle's triangle. Now, you see the known, the obvious, and the comfortable. Most people, they make all their decisions inside here. Are you hearing me today? They make their decisions. Wait. They make their decisions inside here. This is where they make their decisions. So any decision they are making, it's inside there. But you know what? Innovation never happens inside here. You know where innovation happens? Everywhere else. Innovation happens here. Innovation happens here. Innovation happens here. It happens everywhere. And if you look, you see that there's more space outside here than inside. So think with me. Guys were focusing. I remember, look at every innovation that has taken the world. It didn't happen inside here. In fact, isn't it interesting that some of the creators of these innovators had to come out of formal schooling, come out of that triangle? Are you hearing me today? You have to come out. But you will not have the confidence to operate from outside here if you have not done what we have said today, to expose your mind to. You won't do it because you'll be so scared that I've not seen anybody do this. Somebody hearing me today? So I want to encourage you. I'm going to send you the, let me show you the curriculum. This is our Street University curriculum, July to December class. All right. We have our online portal that has different facilitators. And these are our courses. 3L. Today I was talking from leading disruption. Okay. We have the transformative leader. So there are courses for companies where you can ask, send your teams for the training, high impact communication. And then there are courses for individuals, it's from the brain to the bank. And we've assembled a phenomenal set of facilitators. Oh, you're looking at retirement. How do you future-proof your retirement? Oh, this is a very hot one now. Harnessing Gen Z, unlocking the potential of a transformative generation in the workplace. And then this is now for Gen Zs, Gen Z's guide to navigating the corporate landscape. So if you're interested in that, kindly reach out to us and we'll tell you how to go about that. If you would like a copy of this book, we can deliver it. For those in Kenya, we're still going to figure out within the next few days, we'll figure out how those outside Kenya will get this. But those in Kenya, we deliver right to your doorstep. All right, wherever you are. And let me show you how to go about that. Now, did you enjoy today? Did it add value to you? Please write in one sentence your takeaway as we wrap up. Your takeaway from today's session. What was your takeaway as an individual from today's session? And for those in Kenya, this is the payment mode. That's a till number. Send to that till number. And then you call Christine or text your delivery address to Christine and we'll get it to you. All right, let me look at the highlights. Fantastic. Freedom's born of your insight. The most important questions are why and how. Mary, I will strongly recommend you come for and if you guys want to see the timetable when the courses are for all those other courses, just request and we'll send it to you. Okay, we'll send that to you. Very, very important. So you can come and do the other modules of that. Thinking outside the box. Wale's triangle. Thank you, Mumbi. Expose your mind. Get this. Expose your mind, free myself. Thank you. All right. Nothing is final. Absolutely, Christine. You cannot remain in that triangle. Thank you. Motive overrides logic. It looks like I have a lot of candidates for the creative thinking class. What I see is not final. Nothing is final. Harness the knowledge around me. Channel towards a goal. Yeah, stop thinking about my past achievements. Oh, absolutely. It's one of the most limiting things you can ever do. Don't dwell in the past. Expose your mind. All right. Learning to unlearn. Progressive thinker. Karen, thank you. Comfort and focus. Absolutely. Yes, my pastor. The fear of being irrelevant and not fulfilling your purpose on earth should. It's the biggest driver. is the biggest driving force in my life. I wrote a whole book on Beyond Intelligence, the simple practice of being relevant. And you know what happens is, when I'm dealing with these things, I'm writing the books based on the things I have learned for myself. Then I say, oh, you know what? This will help somebody else, eh? So that's why we do that. All right. Thank you so much. If you want to get more information, or you want the curriculum for Street University anywhere you are in the world, because there are webinars and we have live webinars. And if you're not able to make the webinars, we can send it direct to your mailbox. And then we have a one-on-one coaching program we run called Reimagine Yourself. So if you are also interested in that, that's an email address I've put there, Christine@powertalks.biz. Just send an email and Christine will send you everything you need about the Reimagine Yourself, about the one-on-one, the Reimagine Yourself, about the Street University courses that you can take, and any other information you want. Christine will be there to help you. Thank you very much. It's a privilege calling a party and people come. And I'm so happy you all came. This is part of our vision to transform Africa and the globe right now, because Karen is in California. I think Christine and James are you in Canada, right? Or in America? Christine, James, you're in Canada, right? And then my pastor, I don't know, are you in Canada or in Lagos at the moment? All right. So it's all over the world, really, and really grateful for this. So thank you so much. Watch out. Yes, my pastor's in Canada. So guys, watch out. If you're not yet following me on LinkedIn, follow me on LinkedIn. That's where I put all my announcements. That's where I put all sorts of stuff. So you'll get things in real time. And we will send you our newsletter, just update you on what we're doing. Thank you so much. God bless you and keep winning. Thank you. This is going to be uploaded on our YouTube channel, Street TV, and on Facebook. So you can you can watch it again. This is Module 1 for the Disruptive Leadership class. Module 1 for Creative Thinking is also online. Thank you. God bless. Bye.